Hello and welcome back to Pseudo Gameplay TV for another installment of our character spotlight. Today's character is none other than the incredible Hulk. Now, Hulk is one of the most, if not the most recognizable character from the original crew of the Avengers. If you haven't heard of the Hulk, you've been living under a rock, essentially. So, Hulk is a really interesting character, kind of a dynamic, where he has a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, where the Hulk is the big brute force, and the alter ego, or Bruce Banner, is more of the brains behind the operation. So, having said that, a little brief spotlight on the Hulk and Bruce Banner, though Bruce does not make an appearance in the game at all, is that Bruce Banner has a genius level intellect, while the Hulk has basically, he's invulnerable, which doesn't really convey over into the game, but he is very, very difficult to take down in any circumstance. As well as possessing superhuman strength, stamina, and durability, is empowered by his anger and has a regenerative healing factor. The regenerative healing factor doesn't come into play as much here, but Hulk can do quite a few things that other characters just can't. So in terms of his abilities and what he's able to do, as you might guess, Hulk is primarily a melee-based attacker. That being said, he does have a surprising amount of range with some of his abilities, which we'll have a look at here right now. So his first ability, the Hulk Smash, is where Hulk will leap up into the air and lands with his fist smashing into the ground, and this does knock enemies back. It can be aimed to some degree while being charged or when being activated. His second ability, the Thunderclap, is where Hulk will clap both of his hands together, sending a vortex of wind shooting forward. And this is one that you can hold to kind of charge up and aim as well. His third ability that he has access to is the Unstoppable Charge, where the character will rush forward and you can press the button to extend how long or how this is affected. His fourth and final ability, apart from his ultimate attack, is the Gamma Slam, where Hulk will pick up an enemy and violently slam them into the ground, which is kind of a fun mechanic to use. Now, in terms of the synergies, I do have all of Hulk's synergies maxed out today, where we have Miss Marvel, Iron Fist, and Wasp. So, we're going to go ahead and jump into our favorite rift and showcase the Hulk in today's video.
Here we go again.
So, as we jump into this Infinity Rift here, the first thing that we'll want to keep note of is Hulk, unlike other characters, only has a singular jump, but it also kind of makes sense. In terms of his regular attacks, his medium or standard attacks do come in a 3-attack burst, with some knockback being applied on the third and final hit. He also has his heavy attack, which I think is one of the most useful heavy attacks in the game, where he will kind of rip the floor up from underneath his opponents, and it goes a fair distance and covers not quite a conical type shape, but provides some throwback to the enemies that are being defeated as well. Now, his aerial attack is a pretty standard falling punch, which we've seen similar with some of the Hulk is a very bursty character who can take down larger opponents quite quickly. But let's go ahead and start showcasing some of his abilities here. So we have the Hulk Smash, where we can jump up into the air and then smash back down on top of the opponents in the area. And this can be charged up as well as influenced directionally while you're holding the button. His second attack, the Thunderclap, is quite a bit of fun to use, as it extends a very long way and will send enemies flying even if their stagger bar is not depleted. So quite a nice thing to keep in mind. His ability, the Unstoppable Charge, is similar to some of the other attacks that we've seen from some of the bosses in the Let's Play series, such as Dr. Octopus. That's a very, very similar type attack to one that we see him showcase and use. So he will just kind of charge forward, and if you continue to mash the button, he will be able to continue forward, and does have some directional influence to it as well. Now, the Gamma Slam, of course you want to be right next to somebody, and he will then pick them up and slam them into the ground, which does do some damage to the opponents in the nearby area. Now, do keep in mind that the Gamma Slam does not work on the larger heavy characters, but mainly and primarily on the smaller ones. Now, in terms of his ultimate attack, keep in mind, you do want to stay up close to the opponents in the area, as it's very short yet powerful in comparison with a lot of Hulk's other attacks. But Hulk is capable of dispatching of large groups of enemies in a very short amount of time. As a matter of fact, if you can get some of these heavier characters' stagger bar down, then you are almost guaranteed to knock them out within just a few brief and short attacks after taking the full extent of their damage. And something to note is that the Gamma Slam can be executed if there are not any characters in the area that can be picked up, but of course the major benefit is, or does come from, there being some sort of character to pick up. So if you're looking to burst down some of the dungeons where you're needing to clear out people pretty quick, Hulk is an excellent go-to character because he's just got so much raw power and potential that he can really tear through the competition. Adds a lot of a power mechanic to your team, so a very, very useful member to have. But that's going to do it for today's character analysis, and we'll be back in a few days' time with a Let's Play, as well as a few days later with another character spotlight. But do let me know what you think in the comments, and we will be sure to continue this series until we've showcased every single character. So thanks again for tuning in, and you have yourself a great rest of your day.